Ask these questions to find your next great client. So if you are screening new clients to come into your firm, there are some great tricks you can use to ask great questions. So we always ask questions that are in the future. So we ask future-oriented questions. Now, there's a lot of things we need to know to serve a client, which are current things, right? Like, what's the state of your accounting? Have you done last year's tax return? Do you need 1099s this coming January? So these technical things, we gather in a form. We have them just fill out a form. So when we're talking to the new client and we're screening them, we're always asking what we call our strategic questions. Strategic questions are questions in the future. And what these do, the reason they're so valuable is because they take a client out of their current situation with all of its restrictions. And they go, well, we'd love this, but we don't think we can afford it. So they may say what's not possible in the present. In the future, they don't apply any of that structure. So future-oriented questions tend to produce things that reflect more about what the owner really wants. And that's what we're trying to get to. So when we ask a question like, what do you want to become in 2 years? Or how big do you want your revenue to be 2 years from now? Or what's the next team move you're going to make next year? Or tell us what kind of salary you'd like to give yourself 8 months from now. So all of this is going to produce more accurate feelings and thoughts about what the client is trying to achieve. Now, the reason you want to hear those is because you can price those. If they go, man, I want a salary increase in a year, but I don't think I'll have enough cash flow to do it, you get to sell them cash flow services. It might be something they didn't ask for, but you know now to give it to them because they're hoping to know their cash to give themselves a raise in a year. Any future-oriented questions really put the client in a new mindset, and you learn a lot of things from them that they won't tell you if you hadn't asked that future question. So here's one great question you can ask. You can ask the client, what costs are you currently incurring and you'll continue to incur into the future by not moving to a new financial partner like our firm? And that's a pretty long question. It's very strategic. You might have to repeat it to the client, but what you're basically getting them to do is explain what problems they're facing that they need to have solved. And they anticipate solving that by hiring your firm. That's what we're trying to get at. And it is true, if they're thinking about moving, they are having an issue with something. And we need them to be very clear, and we need them to articulate that problem. And when they do articulate that problem, it is really going to help us sell to them and convince them that we are the solution. So just get them to think about the current costs being incurred that may continue into the future if they don't make a decision to move to your new firm. So here's another question you can ask clients that you're filtering. You can say, let's say and here's the whole question. I say, let's say we work together, and a year from now I ask you, was this the right choice for you? Did you make the right choice to use our firm? And you say yes, you're very excited to answer yes. What are the things we have to do in our service in the future for you to say you've been excited about working with our firm? This is another long question, and what these questions are meant to do is to get the client thinking. You want to probe their brain in a way that they really struggle through the answer, because what they're going to basically do is lay out for you over this next year's engagement with your firm. They're going to lay out for you all the ways you need to impress them. And the things they're going to share are going to be the things that are top of mind. They're not going to say, be real good at our accounting. They're not going to say, finish our tax return. They're going to actually have some lofty thing that is really going to make them happy. So that question again that we ask them, and again, these are really long, which is, if you use our firm in a year, if I ask you how well we did and you were very excited and say we did a great job, what are the things that are going to allow you to say we were the great choice for you? So as you're filtering clients, here's another great question you can ask them. We like to say, why now? Why is now the right time to consider moving to a new financial partner? And that question almost sounds like pushing back. It's like, maybe it's not now. But what they're going to answer is a commitment. They're basically going to say, this is why now is the right time. They're going to convince themselves that now is the time to continue to go through our sales process and choose our firm. And also, we want to know probably something has triggered it. And boy, that is good information that you want for pricing. So for example, if we say, why now? What has happened recently that's triggered you to think now is the right time to move to a new financial partner like us? And they may go, well, for the third year in a row, my tax CPA has not gotten me my tax return on time. They have not communicated with me. She didn't respond to my emails. So now what you're hearing is, okay, there's a high point of service. We have to be super responsive to this client because that alone is what has triggered them to make this move. So that's all great information. And sometimes they can say, I have to know my cash. I've never known my cash. I have to know it. Every 30 days, I've got to know my cash. Boom. Now you're going to sell them cash flow services. So there's a lot that can come out of trying to figure out why is now the time you think that's right to move to this financial partner relationship. And it gives you a lot of thought about how to serve them well, how to price them well. So that's a great question to consider.